Hi, listener. This is From Ideology to Unity, a spiritual journey where we let go of ego and ideological doctrine in favor of meaning, purpose, and unity as a whole. Today, I'm talking to Cindy ACO, a podcaster on YouTube and Spotify who guides seekers as they transcend limitation and align with their true essence. Through her website, thewordsofinfluence.com, and her podcast, Cindy shares delightful insights from divinity about a range of spiritual topics, all in a warm-hearted and approachable manner. Cindy is also the author of Become Consciousness, Remember What You Are, available on Amazon. So, hi.
Hi, Nick. So, yeah, I'm so honored to be here. I'm so grateful to be here. And I really deeply appreciate what you do on your channel as well, on this channel. So, yeah, I hope everyone enjoy this podcast. And yeah, I'm open to every conversation that we're going to.
Well, yeah, that's great. So how did you open up your heart and awaken then?
So it's a life journey, and yeah, I guess I started when I was a kid. I grew up with so much curiosity inside my heart, and I kept questioning a lot of things until now. And by the time as I grew up, I can say I am highly aware of myself, especially. So everything that happened in my life, I always internalize everything and back again to myself, and always reflect back to myself about everything. I just train my mind to be an observer, a listener, observer, and then I just train myself to feel everything with all of my heart and always give my best in everything. And by the time as I kept going, I found adversities, difficulties, and many hardships, and that's where the challenge start. And so that led me to here. So yeah, by the time, and then I faced everything until I found my own shadow, I found my own ego, and then I'm going deeper into my shadow. And yeah, so everything happened inside. So even though I always project outwards like love, light, everything's good, positive, but yeah, I just always projecting my light, but every inner battle that happened inside me, I just kept inside and just focus on myself only. So yeah, I guess my growth, it happened inside. So yeah.
It always does, right?
Yeah.
You always focus so much out there. So I mean, we realize it all comes from within. It's just like, so you started having your hardships, and that's when you really got tested, right?
Yeah, exactly. True. And I think every hardships that I faced, those are divine puzzle from the bigger picture of divine bigger picture, the divine big picture. So yeah, the more I face challenge, the more I face the hardships, the more I got another piece of puzzle. So I'm so grateful for every hardships that I've been through in the past, because of those hardships, now I can got the bigger picture, and then I got another bigger picture, and then I got another bigger picture. So yeah, life is a puzzle for me, and yeah, it's an infinite possibility. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess in some ways I've had a similar experience. At first, I I went through certain hardships, and there was a lot of like anger and negativity within, right? I guess that I
Yes.
didn't fully know before, or I wasn't really in touch with.
Mhm.
But when you realize, yeah, at a certain point you realize you become grateful for it's there to teach you. It's not just bad things that are happening,
Yes.
but it might seem like that at first.
Mhm.
Yeah. So at what point in your journey did you write your book?
Because I feel like this is something that unseen is, and the more I observe, the more I start to realize that my journey is not happened to me, but also I see the patterns that also happen for most of souls, I guess. But they didn't realize it happened to them, but they keep fun their patterns, but they don't realize it happened to them. So I think what I've been through and what I've overcome can be so meaningful, impactful if I can share to another people through every through every through my channel, through my book, through my everything that I can turn my pen into masterpiece. So yeah, for me that's a great thing. So I keep constantly doing many greater things because I'm so inspired by my hardships, my challenge, my everything that happened in my life.
So how do you turn pain into something beautiful?
Because I truly believe that inside of us there is an authentic light within all of us, but we didn't realize that because of the veil of shedding. And until we turn inward and we do the inner work, we just realize that we are not our thoughts, we are not our mind, we are not our brain, we are not our body. This all of this is just a vessel, and our core, our essence, our true we really are is just a consciousness which is connected with the divine itself. So yeah, the more we realize that, as we realize that and we detach from every labels, we start to see that, oh yeah, we start to realize our true meaning, which is we call self-realization, that we realize what we really are from the beginning, or we can call it what we really were, because we know why we are here. It's because the consciousness itself. And at the end, everything that we experience is just back to the consciousness itself. So yeah, the point for me is the self-realization first. And the more we continue to going deeper and deeper into our universe, the more we realize the consciousness itself.
Yeah. Um, Perhaps when they look into science, the quantum realm, we discover that we have effect on the outcome, but also we look within and we've got like this, apparently the whole universe is within us sort of thing.
Yeah, the more
So,
we go deeper.
so you talked about doing inner work,
Yeah,
and there's an authenticity deep within us,
yes.
but we've also got a lot of ego a lot of the time that kind of gets in the way. And how do we clear up our minds to get to an authentic, loving place?
For me, it's not about clear up. It's just about how to train the mind into power, because basically our mind is a tool, is a divine tool, or you can call it divine oracle, that as you know, the oracle is something that manipulative, something that, but behind of the manipulative, there is a great essence behind it. So the more we understand the ego itself, the more we understand what's the purpose of the mind, the ego, or the divine oracle itself, we start to see, oh, the mind is just a divine tool for us. It's not something that poisoning us. So the more we understand it, the more we realize that it's just that we can be a master of our mind, not a slave of it. So yeah, it's back again. We start to realize that we are not the mind itself. We are the master of the mind itself. Because consciousness doesn't come from mind. Consciousness happens through mind, but doesn't come from mind. So we are bigger than our mind.
So it sounds like you're saying maybe that awareness of the truth is the key.
Yes, because awareness is consciousness. Awareness is something within us. I call it authentic light. It happened through us while we are incarnate on this 3D.
So you've talked a bit about different dimensions on your podcast. I actually listened to one of the videos about it recently. Could you give a brief rundown about the different dimensions and how they work?
Okay, so for me, dimension is about the grade of our awareness itself. So in the 3D, we focus on our third dimensional body. We see everything from the physical thing that we can see, touch, hear from our five senses. That's happen in 3D. And also we feel like we are a victim of reality. We even can choose because we have no option. We feel like we don't have free will because the veil of forgetting itself. It comes from unconscious parenting, the hereditary being taught to us, and then from our circumstance where we live, like a hereditary educational system that we adopt inherently, and then so many factors that happen in the matrix from this 3D reality. So yeah, and then as we start to increase our awareness, the more we start to observe, start to listen, start to aware that there is something that outside of our condition, outside of our mind, and we start observing our mind itself, we start to increase our consciousness into fourth dimension. In the fourth dimension is between, or you can call it the bridge between the physical dimension and soul dimension. So in the fourth dimension is about, we sometimes listen to our heart and mind. So we are in the middle of it, and we combine everything. We try to balance from our physical dimension and our soul dimension. So yeah, sometimes we listen to the whisper of the soul. Sometimes we listen to the mind because we still cannot fully detach from our mind, because we still identify, some of us still identify ourselves with the mind. And yeah, but we start to realize that we have free will to choose. That's why we can improve ourselves, and we start self-growth, self-love. We learn all of that and start to look more tune inward, more look inward, and start reflect ourselves, start to realize, start become wiser. And then after that, the more we tune inward, the more we do our inner work and focus on the internal, the more we start to realize that there is something more inside of us, that we not only about the mind or the heart, but there is also something that such that we call it spirit or soul. There is a dimension of the soul, which is the 5th dimension or soul dimension itself. So once we tap into 5th dimension, we are fully detached from our mind, and we no longer see everything physically, but we just focus on realization. That's why I keep saying self-realization, because when you tap into 5th dimension, you no longer see things from 5 senses, but we go beyond our 5 senses. And so we see everything from our realization, from our awareness, because our awareness start to expand as we tap into 5th dimension. Yeah, I think that's the bigger picture about it.
So how did you get from the trials and the testing that perhaps you get in the 4th dimension to breaking through to 5th dimensional loving awareness?
It's not something that hard. It's even just do nothing. In 3D, we always attach to everything. Because we feel like we don't have anything, so we need to gain something external, and so everything, it's so we identify ourselves with something that we have, which is something that comes from external. And then in the 4D, we identify ourselves from something that we can do, because we start to realize that we have free will, but we not fully realize that we can fully access that free will. Until we tap in the 5D, we fully realize that we have free will, because we are the free will itself. We are the creator itself. We are one with the divine. We are the power of oneness. We start to realize that everything is connected. So we can see from the metaphysical perspective that limitation is just an illusion, and there's no longer attachment, because we detach from all of things. We just see ourselves from what we really are, not what we have, not what we do either. We just being.
Right. So you actually let go of doing, even doing spiritual things, and you be it
Yeah.
instead.
Yeah.
Huh. Because I admit I'm still a little bit, I still get a little bit of attachment about even my podcast, doing that. Like, oh, I haven't done an episode today, or something like that, right? But I fall into like unconsciousness sometimes, and then I realize what I'm doing. So yeah, I guess that's like you said, you doing the inner work. It's all about within, not outside.
Yeah.
So could you say like the most important or helpful tips for doing inner work?
So inner work is just simply started by being an observer, especially an observer of ourselves, because reality only exists if we exist. If we don't exist, then the reality doesn't exist. You got it? Because our reality, what we think as your reality, is actually the projection of our mind. The consciousness itself also project through us. So the reality exists when we exist. So realize that we are not the mind, the body, or everything itself. We just simply observe and just do nothing. What I mean by do nothing is just, even though maybe you work or maybe you do your daily activities, but you realize why you're doing that. Why you, for example, you do this podcast, but you realize why you're doing that, and you even living in the present moment. Just like now, we are talking, but we realize what we are talking about, what we can share, what I'm going to do what I mean by that is we're living in the present, so we fully living with the full awareness that we are living now, because the universe only exists in the now. The universe exists in simultaneously our future, our past, our present, but what we have, everything that we have is happen in the now, exactly in the very moment now. So yeah, living in the moment and then observe, especially observe how our mind works, how our brain works, how everything works inside of us. Just like observe how our thoughts going, observe how we observe before, even when before we speak, observe when you want to give something, ask yourself internally, is this necessary? Is this kind? Is this something that can have a great impact for our surroundings? Is this comes from our heart, or this is something from the conditional mind? So yeah, continuously ask yourself, because question comes from our awareness, but the conditional mind will keep sending thoughts, guilt that comes from the conditional program. Okay,
Right.
so yeah, also being a good listener, because most of us just hear but not listen. When you listen, you try to understand people. You try to empathetic with those people that you talk with.
Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of the time, you might be thinking of the next thing to say, you know, when someone's speaking. We talked about was interesting because in a way it's like reflecting on your own ego in real
Yes.
time. And that's where the awareness comes from, the observation. So I actually had a question,
Yeah.
but that's the past, I guess. I don't know.
It's okay, just let it flow.
Yeah.
Because often when something reflect outside comes from our awareness, it's something that it's beyond our mind. Our mind even cannot know why it just flow from us, because it's just a reflex. You know, when it's something that download, it's usually beyond our mind, beyond our conscious mind, I mean.
Yeah. So we get something beyond our mind from within. And that's interesting. So is our mind a portal to the divine?
Yes, of course, because we can experience that through our mind. Just like what I told before, that our mind, our brain is just a receiver, just like what Nikola Tesla said. Our brain is just a receiver that comes from, that just be a flow or a field from receiving the universal download. So yeah, it's possible to receive download, or also it's possible to receive the conditioning or the program from this 3D reality. So it's always our choice. We can use our free will to choose whether we listen to the conditional program from this 3D, or we listen to the download from the higher consciousness.
I had this image in my mind just now of,
yeah,
it's like choosing your dance partner. Do you dance with love or do you dance with fear?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly like that. We always have a choice. So yeah, once we realize that we are the free will itself, we realize that every choice that we made, every choice that we choose is connected. Everything is connected.
Oh, the free will is the will to choose in our mind which energy to connect to.
Yes.
And people often think of free will as what you do, but maybe what you
Exactly.
do is based on your programming, but
Yes.
in your mind, you connect to, well, Neville Goddard talks about, and others have talked about how the mind is effectively programmed, but how do I say this? Well, there's what you do and there's what you be.
Yes.
And what you be determines what you do. So why
Exactly.
focus so much on the outside?
Exactly. Most of people are focused on the external things from doing into being. They hope that what they do can turn into their being, which is the being is their essence, their true essence, the authentic light within them. So how you can gain something external to back to yourself? Isn't that funny? So
It's already
when you just paying into doing, everything's become divine because you moves from your authentic light outwards. You radiate it outwards. You no longer feel lack or you feel needy for something external to feel complete because you start to realize that you are the divine itself. You realize that you are connected with the consciousness, the universal consciousness. So once you move from your being, you move from your natural core, you move from your natural essence, you just realize that this is everything that I do comes from my realization that I am the authentic light. So everything that I radiate outwards is divine. And I'm going to make it happen because I came from the divine, I do with the divine, and I'm back to the divine only. So you
Right.
can see the difference between doing to being and being to doing.
Something that a lot of people who seek to open their hearts may face might be that fear or anger and resentment and negative emotions, so to speak, come up. And these can be very intense. And what do you suggest about how to healthily deal with these emotions?
Okay, so realize that anger, fear, or any lower vibration, it's also us, but it is our lower vibration. So the emotions exist when we are in a low vibration. So when you are in 5 dimension, you no longer feel that. You maybe feel that, but you just let it, you just become a witness of those emotions because we realize that there's no point of feel those emotions. We just free from external reality because everything is internal. We don't let anyone influence us. Instead, we influence our external reality. Do you get the difference? In 3D, we identify ourselves with external reality. Everything that we see outside, we identify it's happened to us. But in 5D, everything that we see outside is a reflection of our internal, and we no longer let our external reality affect us because everything only happen through our permission. So if something that not not relate with our frequency, we just know how to react to it. We just aware of our condition because we are always living in the present moment and we just observe, listen, feel, and yeah.
Is acceptance important when it comes to these lower vibration emotions?
Yeah, acceptance happens through healing. So before you tap into 5D, in the bridge between 4D into 5D, I guess it's a self-healing process. So in the self-healing process, we start to be vulnerable, open, be transparently open with myself. We see everything that happened inside, including our light, our dark, our shadow, everything we process inside. We just be vulnerable, be honest and transparently open to everything internal, so we can see that there's a whole universe inside us that start from the healing process, the healing journey.
Right. So you've got to watch yourself, detached, but be kind to yourself as well.
Yeah.
What are the key, what have you learned since opening your heart that blew your mind?
What do you mean?
Is there anything that you're like, I had no idea it was like that until you just knew?
Yeah, because I always listen to my soul rather than my conditioned mind. I just feel like everything that I do because I follow my intuition. I follow what I love. I follow where my soul led me. It's just, yeah, even though that the sign is, even though it's something that maybe seems like against the whole world, against our external reality, but I keep going because I enjoy doing that. Why we listen to our external reality and doing something that we don't love? So yeah, back
Yeah, so
again
you
when
do. Right. So all
back
the
again when
spiritual
we
stuff,
spiritual stuff.
we enjoy it. That's the key, right? You're not like obliged to do it.
Yes.
It's fun. It's joy.
Yes. That's why the stages are always the ones that just fun, realize that life is just a game. So why are we so hard on ourselves while everything is just a divine game? It's a whole perspective changes. Yeah.
So what are the rules of the game?
Rules of the game. There's no rules anymore. It's just free. Because the divine itself gives us freedom while we incarnate on this 3D reality. So everything that we experience in this 3D reality, it happened with the permission of the divine, because the divine itself, the universal consciousness, cannot control us anymore while we are incarnate here. It's fully our free will that exists in this 3D reality, that circulates in this 3D reality.
So the key is remembering what we are.
Yes.
We are not the conditioning. The conditioning is the freedom. The freedom is the observer, I am consciousness. That we are the being.
Yes. Sorry for the noisy background. The back sound, I mean.
It's all right. You know, I could look at my the questions I prepared, but I
Mhm.
don't know. I feel like maybe it's better to see how it goes.
You see, you are most enjoyable when you just flow, when you just let detach from anything, you know, like we just can have fun when we just be rather than doing. I the funny thing is when the funny thing was when I prepared to my YouTube channel, I start with um, preparing what I'm going to share, and I made a notes, and then I sometimes I speak with looking to my notes. But the funny thing is when I at some point I just realized that let how about I'm just let it flow and just speak what I want to speak and just let the whisper from the soul itself happen through me. So it comes when I meditate before I share and make my YouTube channel. So after I meditate and then I share, just let it flow. Let everything that flows, because I start to imagine that the divine itself whispered through me. So everything that I speak is it was the flows of the divine. So the strange thing was I felt like it's easier. I'm free to express my authenticity because it just comes from the divine. It's not something that comes from what I've been prepared, or yeah, I maybe prepare the YouTube channel or everything for my improvement, but the point is the essence that I share comes from the divine itself, and I just let the divine flow through me, through everything that happened in my mind. I just open my mind, I just open my heart, because the more I free from the inner resistance, the more I open up space for the divine itself flows through me.
Right. So you mentioned that you meditate. So how do you meditate?
I meditate. I For me, I have two kind of meditation. One, when you just sit in a form of meditation, and then you just sit in silence and just let the universe um, communicate with you, and we are just a listener of the universe. So everything that happened in our subconscious mind is a projection or the flows of the universe from the quantum itself. And then the second one is the download. So the second one is the download. So just like right now, sometimes when I pause my speak, it's because I listen to the universal consciousness. I let the vision comes to me. I let the everything the whisper comes to me. So I just let everything flows. So for me, meditation is a state of being rather than a state of being and receiving rather than a formal activity or something spiritual activity, because the meaning of spiritual itself is just spirit. Spiritual comes from spirit. It means we back to our soul, back to our spirit that connected with the divine.
What struck me in what you said there was listening.
Mhm.
And you mentioned before how we're hearing, maybe we're taking it a bit, but we're not truly listening.
Yes,
And
exactly.
when we're talking to someone, we can truly listen to them.
Yes.
But we can listen anytime. So
Exactly.
listening is a key. because listening opens ourselves up
Yes.
to the flow, the universal flow.
Yes. Observing, listening, feeling. We're positioning ourselves as a receiver of the universal consciousness. You see the difference? We are, at the same time, we realize that we are the consciousness itself, but at the same time, we also realize that we are just a vessel. We are just a receiver. Because love is a realization that we are everything, but wisdom is a realization that we are nothing. And between those, we are live.
So perhaps between everything and nothing is infinity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that paradox. Or it only seems like a
Yes.
paradox anyway.
Everything, every truth lies in the paradox. Because everything, remember that the metric itself is the divine oracle. So when you want to find truth, seek from the paradox in everything. Because everything always covered or veiled by the illusion of everything.
Could you say that again?
Once you realize that the matrix is the divine oracle, then we realize that the truth always lies behind the illusion of everything. In everything,
Right.
there's always illusion. So when you want to find the truth, go beyond the illusion. Seek beyond the illusion, behind the illusion. That is paradox.
Under the surface,
Yes,
behind the curtain.
exactly.
In Alice in Wonderland, she looked behind the curtain.
Yes,
So
exactly.
I feel like we've been getting, let's talk about synchronicity, because we get clues that there's something more going on. Like we see numbers and all sorts of other things.
Everything.
So what sort of fun synchronicities do you get?
First and foremost, when I tap into 5 dimension, which is at that moment I didn't realize that I tap into another dimension, I start to experience some mystical experience, which is one day I intend to help my friend to help his healing journey, and I researched everything to find my own question that I thought it can be helpful for my friend. And in my research I found a strange thing that when in the middle of my research, I start to realize that even though I researched something that didn't relate with what I intend to search, but the video suddenly answered my question, and there's something different with that situation, because I felt that the divine itself exists around me. So I felt like I truly not alone, because and it happened after my dark night of soul, which is I felt so alone, I felt so isolated, and once I experienced the existence, that subtle existence around me, I felt like that was different. That was something that I've never experienced before. And I felt like truly God is beside me, exactly like beside me, but I couldn't see him, but I couldn't see, you can say her or him, whatever it is. I cannot see it, but I can felt it. I felt it. And I still remembered that feeling. I still remember that vibration when I felt
Was there
that.
tingling?
I didn't know how to describe it because it's just a vibration. It's different. And then after that, I shared to my church community, and then they reflect as I sharing something that feels like usual, but for me it's different. The feeling was different, and then since that moment, I kept seeing synchronicity through numbers, and then through songs, through other people. I found so many people that felt like angel. They exactly gave me what I need at that moment, and then they became an answer of my self-inquiries. And once you tap into 5D, everything is your teacher, everything is your synchronicity. That's what my mind blown. Whoa.
Yeah, I've been
Everything is
seeing numbers.
divine.
But what I've realized about the numbers, so you see
Mhm.
like 333 or whatever, you know, something like that. And I'm like, so I looked at the time at a particular moment. So I
Yeah.
did a bunch of activities, maybe something delayed me slightly, like the cat or something. And so something within me is guiding me so that I look at a particular moment, and that's when I see that time. So it's affecting my mind every moment.
Yeah.
Except that it is me on some level, right?
Yeah.
So there's a part of me that I'm not fully aware of yet that synchronizes with everything. So it really is like a synchronized dance that I'm not even fully aware yet of.
The more we
Consciously
pay
doing that.
attention, the more we pay attention, the more we see that everything's connected. Because one synchronicities will connect it with another synchronicities and connecting to another and another more and another. So our job is to keep paying attention, because every synchronicity is also a divine piece of puzzle. So
You know, I used to start looking up certain numbers to see what they mean, but now I feel like it's just a nice reminder that my spirit guides and my higher self, you know, they're there for me every moment. And we're never alone, are we? We're never alone. This whole universe is alive and conscious.
yes, exactly. You only feel the loneliness once you are in the dark night of soul, because I imagine the dark night of soul felt like when Jesus died. Jesus died, he faced his own death on a deepest level. That's the visualization of dark night of soul. We turn into our deepest dark side. We goes into our deepest dark, which is we are our own evil and our own God, right? So when the dark night of soul happen, we tap into our most darkest side ever. And when
How do you know
Jesus
when you're out?
you just feel different. Dark night of soul.
Yeah.
You know, Map of Consciousness by David Hawkins, Map of Consciousness, that I often share in my channel. It's a grade of vibration that we all are, from alpha and omega. Alpha and omega, so which means when we are incarnate here, with the veil of forgetting, we experience the lower vibrations, and our life is supposed to back to our true self, which is in a high vibration. So our life is not only to feel happy, to feel love, to experience peace, joy, but also we are here to experience from lower vibration to high vibration, because all of them is us. We are our lowest vibration until highest vibration.
To truly understand ourselves, we need to experience
Yes,
fully
exactly.
ourselves.
Absolutely.
So that's how we learn, really, isn't it? So tuning to our being.
Yes. But we can only tap into 5 dimensions after we experience the dark night of the soul itself. After we tap into our lowest vibration. And then after that, everything's just back to our nature. Because we fully experience from the lowest until the highest.
Yeah, I feel like I've had a dark night of the soul experience, and yet I don't. I feel like I don't feel like I have an open heart all the time, and I wish I did. So I don't know. Maybe I'm. Maybe it's just around the corner. Maybe,
it's okay. It's the journey.
Yeah. It's moment to moment, isn't it?
Yes.
We get too attached to the destination and we miss the whole point.
Exactly.
It's like if you're working out and you're looking forward to an ending, it drags on.
Yes.
But whereas when if you enjoy the moment, that you're enjoying it.
Yes. When you are just the vibration of love, everything is love. When you are in the joy vibration, everything that you do is just joy. It's just playful. It's just bliss. Even though you face hard times, but you face it with a joy vibration. You face it with a joy emotion, because emotion is energy in motion, right? So everything is vibration. Everything is energy.
Yeah, it's like in a game, a computer game, and it's the difficulty is raising or something. So you're getting a bit of a challenge, and you're like, yeah, this is fun because it's a challenge, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it sounds like just what we're talking about.
Okay, so back again, it's our choice to listen to the conditioned mind, or listen to the universal consciousness, our higher self.
And listening is simply receiving.
Yes.
Nothing more, nothing less.
Yes.
Like, we might want to judge it or add stuff to it and be like, or maybe if we go through negativity, we're like, oh no, I'm doing it wrong, I'm failing. But are you like?
Listening is understanding. Listening is understanding. When you just listen, you try to understand. Oh, what he tried to say, what he tried to mean, what he mean by that, what he feel behind his words, what he feel right now, what he exactly want to trying to express now. So we no longer see from our interpretation, but we try to detach from our glasses of perception. We just put it out, and then we just fully focus on that person, what they're trying to speak, what they're trying to express, because everything that they express, usually it's a paradox of what they want.
Whew. Well, I've got 11:11 right now. Just as I was realizing that you were doing that the whole time.
It's a practice. It's a choice.
You were doing that listening.
It's a constantly choice. It's a constantly practice, keep train ourselves, because we are here for training, right? We are here for experiencing through training.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's divine.
And it leaves space. When you are in that receptive mode, it leaves space for everyone else to expand.
Yeah.
They want.
It's not about me. It's about realization that even in others, we can see ourselves. You know, so even though we meet another people that may be in a lower vibration than us, but we can understand them because we've already there, so we can understand them and we can see ourselves in them. So we treat them as how we treat ourselves. If we treat ourselves with love, joy, compassion, peace, joy, so we can also understand them with the same love that we give to ourselves.
Yeah. Because otherwise, you can't give more than what you have, or more than what you're embodying. You can't give love that you're not in touch with at all.
You are what you understand, and understanding comes through experiencing.
Yeah. Do you experience more when you open to receive more?
Of course, the more we open, the more we experience more. The more we experience, the more we know. The more we know, the more we know nothing. And so it keep be a spiral dynamics. It keep be a spiral experience. And it's beautiful because that's how the nature of the universe. The universe doesn't work. Exactly.
It spirals round.
Yeah.
And there's this vortex sort of energetic.
Exactly.
Thing. And like you see it in like the drain, and it's all a spiral.
Yes. Even our experience in our daily life also spiral if you pay attention. You keep meet the same experience with another level of consciousness, with another level of awareness.
Sort of
So do you
spiral
feel right
paradox.
now? Yeah.
It's so simple.
Everything's simple, basically. It's the story that our mind created based on the conditional mind is that what makes everything so complicated. Because the mind, the conditioned mind comes from the illusion. Because everything in 3D basically is an illusion, right? We've been to install, so many of us were installed with illusion, attachment, but at the end, we should leave all of that. We should detach from all of that to remember what we really are.
Yeah.
So the journey is not to becoming, the journey is to unbecoming everything, unbecoming anything that aren't you.
Yeah.
Paradox, right?
Yeah, the journey is
Everything's
actually an
paradox.
unjourney.
Yes. You know, why we all learning in school, what we learn in school, in our parenting, at the end, we should detach from all of that. We should unlearning. We should unremembering, unforgetting, unfail.
And it's not like throwing away what you've learned and experienced. In fact, it's just like, okay, I've got this experience, but
It's just
if
detached.
it no longer serves,
Yes.
I don't need to attach that to myself anymore and bear that
Yes.
burden,
Yes.
bear that weight.
Yes.
And but in your mind, you've grown from
The condition,
the hardship
the program.
of bearing that burden, and you're stronger now.
Yeah. There's no longer
yeah.
barrier. There's no longer limitation. Because what you really are is just abundance. What you really are is just abundance, infinite.
Yeah, it's like we're having this, we're walking along, right? We've got this really big backpack on us, really heavy, right? And we start realizing there are things that aren't really necessary. We really think that we're on this really hard journey to this destination over there.
Exactly.
We'll get there eventually, right? We're just going to keep pushing, right?
Yes.
But the more we let go of what isn't really necessary, the lighter it gets. And then eventually we realize that it's just like, it's so easy.
Yeah. Why you try to burden and carrying everything that no longer serve you?
Is letting go really a journey? Not really. It's just letting go. And then you're like, wait, why was I going there anyway? I could go anywhere.
Exactly. Exactly. So there's no more question about where I should go. Is this something that align with my life purpose? No. You have the infinite possibility within you because you are the possibility itself. Through you, the universe experience itself. Remember. So when you incarnate here, the possibility is infinite. You can be anything that you choose.
But of course, there's always a choice between love and fear.
And what?
And fear, or, you know. Or,
For me, love is beyond everything, and love has no opposite. Fear is
I was being
something that,
dualistic, wasn't I?
yeah,
I was being dualistic, and the truth is non-dualistic.
exactly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. You got it.
Love accepts and loves fear.
Even the fear itself is an illusion of love. Remember, it's the divine oracle. Everything negative it's also come from love because love created it, so it can experience itself.
Yeah.
But we just to distract with the illusion of separation that we installed from this 3D reality. Beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, you can look at the stars and you can start analyzing and naming them, or you can just take them in.
Yeah. When you see star, it's also you can see yourself because the star can shine after it die. The star that you look in the sky, it's the dead star actually.
Potentially, yeah. So, yeah, the light shines forth, right? All the vibrations come out. But where's that energy coming from? Perhaps if we're a divine portal, it comes in if we open up and then like a pebble, but a pebble comes from above. Yeah, I've learned something today. I've learned that listening and receiving and opening up, it's so simple and easy at any moment. Meditation
Exactly.
isn't this big thing you've got to do and you've got to do it right. And if you think too much, you've done it wrong and this and that, and you've got to use a special technique. Like, no, it's fine. It's fine.
Definitely.
Just
It's even not
watch,
something,
listen.
it's not an activity. You are not doing meditation. You just be the meditation itself.
You're undoing, no,
Not
you're not doing
undoing.
all the other things.
Yes. It's simply you doing nothing. Meditation is doing nothing.
We're so attached to doing, aren't we?
Yeah. Remember
But
that doing comes in 3 dimensions.
if we let go of doing, we be.
Yeah.
Kids understand it, don't they?
Yeah. Remember when we want to look our true nature, it's just simply to look at the children before they've been conditioned with the parenting. They just joy, peace, full of curiosity because they know that they didn't came from here.
And we're star children too, if you remember.
Sorry?
We're star children too, if you remember.
Yes. That's why when people grow older and they start to acting back as a child because we just back to our true nature. The journey is spiral.
It all connects.
Back again.
Sorry?
Right.
Yeah, it's all connected. Even things we've said here and everything
Yes.
else. Everything is so wonderful.
Exactly.
So why can't we just chill out?
Yeah, exactly. So why we hard on ourselves? Well, we can enjoy ourselves, enjoy each moment, enjoy every miracles in every moment, even though we see our daily life is just look like something that nothing changed, but it's actually every moment is divine message. So our job is to keep paying attention, be a good observer, listener, feeling, and just, the rest is go with the flow. Listen to, let your spirit, your love, your heart guide you. That's all.
Yeah. And I think that is a great way to wrap up. Obviously, I'd love to have you on again. It's really a nice conversation.
Thank you.
So yeah, is there anything you want to say to just sort of summarize your message for the listener?
I believe that within all of us, there is an authentic light that comes from the that comes from the universal consciousness itself. So we are here with our authentic light, with our true nature as the divine itself. And of course, we are all here with a divine purpose. So always remember that you are a powerful and purposeful soul, and your power comes with a purpose behind it. So the question is, after we realize what we really are, then what next, right? And what's next is our next chapter to write.
Yeah, and it's a mystery, a wonderful mystery. And I hope you enjoyed this, because I certainly did. And yeah, enjoy the mystery of life today.
Because always give space for mystery.
So yeah, without further ado, have a great day and bye for now.